Hi, everyone. We are going to continue with the Thailand based Sangsum distilled Phraya branded rum called Elements today. And I've talked briefly about the backstory of the company in the written review. I also mentioned a little bit in the original elements that we looked at in the video review before this. So I'm not going to go over all of this again, but to just summarize very briefly, Phraya is, as far as I'm concerned, the attempt by Thai Bev, which owns the Sangsum distillery, to colonize the premium rum space in a more global fashion. I first tasted this in 2024 at the German Rum Festival. And it was quite an experience, let me tell you, because the day that I was talking with the brand rep at the booth, and he and I were just chatting about production methods and what they were trying to accomplish and the sort of rum, what this was, there was this lady and her husband right next door in another, and they were kind of like tasting their stuff. And of course they were like three sheets to the wind. And she was just blaring and bugling away that, yep, she knows what good rum is. My husband was in the Navy and I know what that is. And this is, that is absolute scheiße. And I can, a whole bunch of stuff. And the poor guy was, trying to be polite, say, yeah, okay, I completely understand and so on. And he kind of like cutting me a side eye and asking me what I was thinking about all this. And then I've seen it all, so people do have their strong opinions about drums. There's no two ways about that, but I thought I'd mention this particular little anecdote. Anyway, long story short, what we have here is rum made in Thailand from molasses from Thailand cane that the company has. And Sangsum Distillery is actually, I think it's about 100 miles to the west of Bangkok. And of course, they have their own Sangsum brand that is much more well known in Asia, if not in the West. And Phraya is very much in the line of everything that they've done before. There isn't actually anything significantly different about it. It is molasses based, and it's got a short fermentation time. It is run through a multi-column still. Then it is put into barrels to age, ex-bourbon, charred, apparently. And then, the marketing materials make a big fuss about the fact that all these barrels are laid to rest near to a bunch of lagoons to keep the temperature down and to moderate the fast tropical aging. We can argue about it. This is the Elements 8, which means that and they make a big point about the fact that this is an actual 8-year-old rum. In that sense, that's an interesting thing to see because, of course, the previous Elements was 5 to 7 years old. This one is now a full 8. And there's another one that we're going to look at next time around, which is even older than that. Over and beyond that, there's not a whole lot to tell you, really. It seems to be almost like a Spanish-style rum that just so happens to be made in the East according to their own traditions, and that's perfectly fine. We don't see it very often, though, which is one reason why we really do have to give it a shot and see whether it comes up to snuff, it presents anything particularly different, or it is just more of the same old blah. I don't know. Right. Now, remember that I've tried all these three samples one after the other, so I've got a good sense of the comparison one to the other. This one is definitely just a little bit better than the original Elements blended rum that they made, and that's because there's just a little bit more taste going on here. Yes, you have all the original nosing notes and the aromas of, what is it? Caramel, vanilla, nougat, a little bit of crushed nuts, not too much, but it's there. A little bit of leather, a little bit of salt, brine. There's a very faint hint of smoke and leather there, as well as a faint citrus side to it, which is really quite welcome. You really need to have that. And even a little bit of saltiness, which I think is also quite nice. At 40%, this thing is not going to damage you. Not at all. Not at all. It is a soft, easygoing rum. It goes down really easy. It doesn't appear to have been sweetened. I did test this. It comes out at 40%. And the guy did tell me that, yes, no, they don't do anything with it, which is fine. But the tasting is not breaking any new ground here. What we are getting, of course, is the same thing that the nose suggested that we were going to get when we tasted it, right? So there's the blancmange, there's the toffee, nougat, caramel, salted caramel in point of fact. Again, brine, a touch of olives. There's, again, that very faint orange zest line, not as sharp as lemons. It's more orange or tangerines or something like that. And again, there's a little bit of smoke, a little bit of polished leather, that kind of thing. Honey, if you really will. The finish is really too quick to make a statement for itself as far as I'm concerned. And on that sense, it is a completely serviceable, I don't want to say average, but it's a run-of-the-mill rum that we have had before. And this, I think, is why, even though the website and the bottle itself, they're all very pretty and they've got lots of marketing speak and lots of very interesting stuff going on about how unique and special it isn't really. Sorry. I wish it was, because I'd like to see Thailand rums, aside from Isan and Chalong Bay, for example, to get more promotion, and I'd like to see them sell better. But it is, at the end of the day, a rum that doesn't actually go anywhere particularly new. If I had to say, I would score this, let's say, just around 81, maybe 82 points. I think that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. The fact of the matter is, though, that if you wanted to get an 8-year-old for price, you would go with the Bacardi Ocho. And if you wanted to get an 8-year-old that is going to have serious taste chops, you're going to go for something stronger like the ones out of Hampton. Right? The original Hampton 8-year-old was absolutely spectacular on that level. And this is why you can say with some assurance that it doesn't, when I say it doesn't break any run, it's that kind of thing I'm talking about. It doesn't compete really seriously on either price or taste chops. It's kind of like in that inoffensive middle. And that's the part that I think they should try and move beyond. Because when we taste rums from Asia, we tend to think of stuff, whether it's from Japan, Nine Leaves, and some of the stuff like Corcora and so on, or we're thinking of stuff from Indonesia, like the Batavia Araks. We're thinking about, of course, India with its jaggery tradition and so on. They, even with their failings and their successes, they tend to make a statement for themselves that this just doesn't make. When you taste this, you don't taste Thailand. With Shakara, you could. And I think the boys at the Rumcast did actually try that once. And they said, oh my God, this is like, yeah, this absolutely does taste like a rum from Thailand. And I can't tell that from here. Now, granted, other people who know more than I do, or who have got better tasting chops than I do, might be able to identify it. I can't get that sense at all. So I think there's still a bit more work to go here. I am going to score this around the 81, 82 mark, and I'm going to leave it there before I go to the very last one, which is the deep matured Phraya, and we're going to go there next when I finish this. So that's it for today. So I hope you have a very good day, and I will talk to you all next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.